little crossing of the chest from Margarito before he went out. There's been a flood of late money in Las Vegas for Margarito, who starts here as a 2-1 on favourite, and that has to be something of a surprise. In one of his recent fights, beat a very faded, it has to be said, Frankie the Surgeon Randall. Randall quitting on his stool. He'll be eager, he'll be fresh. Diaz, of course, blown away in 6 rounds by Sugar Shane Mosley, though he's had 4 wins since that, and might be more used to the weight now, having moved up from light welter. This is, of course, at welter, the vacant WBO championship at 10.5 stone, formerly held by Eamon Loughran of Northern Ireland a few years back. Bet you'd forgotten that one. Good start with the jab here from Margarito, Glenn.
Yep, this is the fight that you would expect to be a good clash. There's a good mix of styles here. The taller Margarito, the shorter Diaz. And you just think with a little bit of Latin mix that this could be a good one.
The height and reach of the gangling Margarito could be very important here. Diaz has got to try to find a way on the inside. At the moment, he's eating Margarito's jab, and a right hand too. It's a confident start, this, by the younger man. The question too, I think, of how much desire and ambition Diaz retains following that Mosley fight. But there's his best shot so far, that right hand.
Yes, he's come through the occasional counter punch with some substance, Diaz. But it's the long and rangy Margarito who's making the best start.
Busier, isn't he, too? There he is, jolting the head back of Diaz again. This division just crying out for a wee bit of charisma. Vernon Forrest had that great win over Mosley to take over as the top man in the division, but it's not really bubbling at the moment. Margarito making a very, very good start here. He's got lacerating sort of punches. He looks the kind of puncher who might catch you up.
Well, Diaz needs to start wakening up a little bit, needs to start getting some punches off. He's allowing Margarito to make this good start.
That's better from Diaz, 2-punch combination. He just may feel, Diaz, that the late rounds might be his here. That's Margarito's excellent start, winning in the round. And there's Margarito. He turned pro when he was 15 years old. That's quite common in Mexico, isn't it? A bit late, in fact.
Yeah, they like to get their pros nice and young.
Second round, green trunks of Antonio Margarito, Tony Margarito as he calls himself. And Antonio Diaz, certainly the one with the more experience at this kind of level. Holds wins over Corey Spinks, Emmanuel Burton, you might remember stopping John Thaxton. Mickey Ward, he beat Ivan Robinson. These are good wins.
Well, Diaz, a world-class operator, but just having trouble with the height and reach of Margarito.
Great work with the jab, almost taking his cue here from what Vernon Forrest did to Mosley, isn't he? Now this is terrific action in round 2. Diaz is trying to raise the tempo himself.
Well, he needs to do that. He's allowing Margarito to tee off from long range. Needs a bit more head movement, Diaz.
He does, doesn't he? Just thinking the same thing. Seems to be the way with Mexicans, doesn't it, though? They're quite happy to take a few, to land a few, which, of course, over the years has made them such exciting fighters. Might not add to their longevity too much. It's a good body shot, too, from Margarito. Making full use of his height and reach. And busy, busy, busy.
Well, Diaz just prepared to stand and take these shots from Margarito. He's starting to fight back now.
White trunks, remember, Diaz, in this all-Mexican battle. Latin Fury, they're calling this bill tonight. And a good crowd, too, at the Bally's Event Centre, just across the road from Caesar's Palace. On the strip.
Diaz some success with the right hand. He's starting to come forward.
Really good second round here. Terrific action. Oh, tremendous left hook. Diaz. Margarito, though, showed he's got a bit of a chin as well.
But just starting to get himself in the fight now, Diaz. Taking the shots from Margarito and starting to land a few himself.
Oh, these are heavy shots from Diaz. And he's picking the punches quite well. Well, Diaz here showing that he is going to put up plenty of defiance and not let the younger man have it all his own way.
Well, he's finding him easy to hit with that right hand now that Diaz is starting to land that shot.
Good second half of the round for Diaz. Good first half for Margarito.
Margarito just in a bit of trouble towards the end of that last round. Diaz starting to get through with his right and a few defensive flaws coming through with Margarito. Diaz landing the good left hook, but it was the right hands that he had the better work with.
Yeah, more accurate, Diaz. Just shaded the round, I think. Here's round 3 for the WBO welterweight title. Currently vacant. Daniel Santos moving up to light middleweight. Diaz, by the way, who lives in California at Coachella and works in a jewelry store. Only part-time, of course. He's pretty busy with the boxing.
Well, Margarito trying to get the long punches working again. After Diaz started to get himself back in the fight, he needs maybe to step back and use that jab more.
Damaged by the left eye, by the look of it, developing too for Margarito, who's wasting a few more. Diaz is starting to block them and just use his more rounded skills at this stage anyway. Margarito did go in for this very title with Santos, and he was cut in the very first round. It was a no contest, very unsatisfactory. That was last July. Here he is with another opportunity. More of the shots being blocked in this round.
But of the two, Diaz looks the stronger puncher, and maybe that will have the greater effect.
Good body shots from Diaz. Working the combinations. One went a bit low, which is why Jay Nady was on the case. When you put two Mexicans together, you'll very rarely get a bad fight. Specific example, Morales-Barrera. That'll be one to be going on with. Rematch coming up in June, of course. Just wasting too many in this round, Margarito. Diaz more accurate. It's a lovely right hand from him.
Yes, just picking his shots better, Diaz. He's getting the stronger ones through. Margarito more at long range, not as good punches.
Diaz can see a big comeback night here, and that was a good round for him. Sixth round. Diaz in the white trunks, who formerly held the totally lightly regarded IBA version of the title, but he made 11 defenses of that, and it gave him a lot of experience of going long distances. But he's looking here like one of the top welterweights in the world, and I think he's grown into this division now as well. When he fought Mosley, he'd just come out the light welterweights. It was ridiculous really to throw him at Mosley that early in his 10.5 stone career, but I guess the money was good. Other considerations come into play. Now he's looking like a fully blown welter. Just a clash of heads. Bit fussy by Jane Adey. Could have let it go, I think, there.
Margarito just showing the speed from long range, holding the head back of Diaz.
Great right hand. Legs seem to just buckle a little from that one by Margarito. I think Diaz fancies here that he can force the stoppage.
Well, just bit by bit, he seems to be taking the resistance out of Margarito.
Margarito looking to get lucky with one of those long right hands. But it is the same thing time and again with him. Left jab and right hand. There doesn't seem to be too many other schemes that he has. I mean, this is the test, isn't it? When you get to the higher championship level, can you switch strategies? Can you replan it somehow and change stratagems in mid-fight? Difficult.
Well, he really needs to find a punch just to stop Diaz from coming forward. Margarito needs to get Diaz's respect again.
He's still plenty competitive enough, Margarito. And he looks strong, and he's obviously willing and fresh, and he knows it's his big night. He needs something, though, a good round to claw his way back into this somehow. He's working hard, but I think he's wasting too many.
Yes, he's just pushing long shots out. There's nothing really hard going in there. It's Diaz who's got the solider punches.
Best round in a while, though, for Margarito, this one. Just a bit less from Diaz. Cracking right hand there from Diaz.
Well, it's the right hand that's been the best punch for Diaz. They're just staggering Margarito with that one.
Seventh round into the second half of the fight. The fact that Margarito had such a limited amateur career might be a factor as well here. I think something's come loose on the old bandage, same old problem, loose on Diaz's glove. One day they'll work out the what is that on there?
That's a big chunk of Vaseline, I think, just wanting wiped from the glove.
Oh, it wasn't the bandage, that's a new one. Yeah, that could have been nasty, right into the eye of Margarito. It's a bit more elusive, at least, there from Margarito, starting to get his head moving a little. It's a good right hand too, got through with that one.
Well, this is where he can beat Diaz to the punch at long range. He's got to look to stay out, use his skills and movement, and just keep the long punches coming in.
He's just trying to give it a little more by way of lateral movement as well, Margarito. Maybe the corner have been talking about that to him. Now, there are signs here that he is starting to do something about the problems that Diaz was posing. And he is just starting to come back in the fight, Margarito. It's a good one, isn't it, this?
It is a good one. He's starting to up the tempo a bit. He knows he has to, Margarito, and this is good from him.
Good shots, and Diaz just sagged for a moment there and looked a shade dispirited.
Well, he's been working well for the last 4 or 5 rounds, Diaz, and now Margarito's picked it up. He's took everything, and now he's starting to put Diaz on the back foot.
Just when you thought that Diaz had everything under control, Margarito comes back again. The best fights, I always think, are like good books. They've got a few twists and turns along the way.
Well, he's looking to write a new chapter here. Margarito just picking the pace up, and this is good from him.
He's quite heavy-handed as well, and he wants it bad. You just feel neither of these are what you'd call huge concussive punches, but both of them can bang a little bit, and at some point you'd feel that some of these punches need to take an effect and that something has to give. That's a great left uppercut from Margarito, who's really come back well over the last couple of rounds.
Well, maybe he's starting to feel Diaz weaken a bit in there, but it certainly brought him on, starting to get more confidence, Margarito.
It's a cracking battle, this. This is Margarito's round so far. The uppercut especially working for him.
They're just blocking the left hook. But it was his better work inside and at long range that will have given Margarito that round.
That uppercut was a really good shot for him right the way through the round. Round 8. Now then, can Margarito continue to make an impression on Diaz here? '44th fight tonight for Diaz, and the 30th for Margarito, who, remember, started when he was 15 years old.
Well, Diaz has to start and regain control in this fight. Margarito has just come on better over the last couple of rounds.
Margarito looking pretty strong. Now they're trading punch for punch in this 8th round. Good shot, left hook, Diaz.
2 good right hands for Margarito.
It is a terrific scrap between these two. Both of them absolutely trained to the minute for this. Watch the use of the head, says Jane Adey. But I don't think anybody who's paid to get in here is complaining about what they're getting for their money. Good uppercut, Margarito, left on the inside.
Well, he's getting better work going on the inside as well, Margarito. He can do it behind the jab at long range, but now you just sense he's feeling stronger.
Just keeps on letting the lever fly, Antonio Margarito. If he misses with a few, well, he misses with a few. That seems to be his view. but it creates a good impression for the judges. Diaz has to match this kind of work rate. Right hand, Diaz teeing off with that one. Ooh, terrific right to end the round from Margarito.
On my call, I've pulled Margarito right back. I've got the fight standing level at this point. But Margarito, he's had the last 3 rounds for me.
Well, I gave Margarito the first, then Diaz the next 4, and then Margarito the next 3. So, yep, I've got it level too. 4 rounds apiece.
Margarito just starting to look the stronger of the two. Maybe Diaz just fading a little bit. Some of these punches are having a good effect. And Margarito just starting to push forward more.
Ninth round here at the Bally's Event Center on the seething strip of Las Vegas. Green trunks, remember, of Antonio Margarito from Tijuana, of Herb Alpert taxi fame, not to mention Eric Morales' boxing belt fame as well. He's really picked it up, Margarito. And it's a cliche, but true. We're at that stage where it's who wants it most.
Well, at the end of the 5th, it looks like he was fading away, Margarito, but really has shown great character. Come back into this fight, and now, in the 9th round, he looks the stronger of the two.
And he's starting to throw the shots with much more venom. He went through a period where Diaz was outboxing him, and he was looking one-dimensional and not really throwing that left jab with too much menace, or the right hand, and Diaz was blocking them. It's all changed again in the last couple of rounds.
Well, he's getting a bit cocky in there, Margarito, dropping the hands now. That could be a mistake for him.
Or is that a sign that he's getting a little tired? Sometimes is, isn't it, when fighters drop the gloves like that?
Well, he has shaken the arms out once or twice, so maybe just starting to feel it in those arms.
Diaz has been here before in these long fights. Beautiful right uppercut from Diaz. All the way through, just a suspicion that Diaz has got the better punch economy. And I think he's got the more rounded skills as well. That isn't to say those attributes will be enough here, because Margarito is very, very fired up and obviously hungry. They are both tiring, though, you can tell now.
Well, this is where it gets exciting. They both are tired. They stand toe-to-toe. The hands come down. This is where they make mistakes.
Lovely little right on the inside from Margarito. I think these two are going to fight each other to a standstill. They have done so much work in there. Real intensity about the battle. Pick a winner of that round. Well, who'd have thought it? At the end of round 5, you'd have thought that Diaz was maybe a couple of rounds away from picking Margarito apart completely, wearing him down for a stoppage. Now, a totally different scenario.
Well, that shows the character, toughness of these top-quality Mexican fighters.
Well, there's so many of them, aren't there? from Mexico. I mean, what is it about these fellows? And the promoters, of course, love them, not only because they put in great fights, but they do tend to be on the cheap side. Well, terrible thing to say, but it's true.
That helps when promoters are totting up their finances.
Tenth round. No bell to start the round. Is it broken? Inside the last 9 minutes of this one, and the result almost certainly up for grabs, I would say, though Dave Moretti, Jerry Roth and Dr. Clark Sammartino from Providence, Rhode Island may have other ideas. I've got it Margarito by 1. I think you're the same, aren't you, Glenn?
Yes, exactly the same. Just that last round between them.
Who's got the finish in them?
Well, maybe Margarito might be the hungrier of the two.
Well, he's been knocking around on undercards for a few years, this Margarito. This is the chance for him to graduate into the big time and the bigger money.
Well, good combinations from Margarito there, mixing up head and body.
And at the moment, Diaz is struggling really to get in range, and it seems to have run out of ideas for a moment, and it just seems like this marauding style of Margarito is proving a little bit too much for him.
Guess maybe just starting to have a bit of a crisis in there. Diaz starting to get hit more and more.
Oh, look at these shots, and he's down! Three-punch combination, left uppercut to finish. Diaz on the floor.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Up at 8, he was listening to it. His right eye's closing as well. He's blinking through the pain. Diaz, Margarito can have him here. These are huge shots. Nothing coming back from Diaz. Margarito on the very brink.
But Diaz needs to start throwing back. It's all Margarito here.
And unless he does, the referee will step in and stop the fight. They're trying to wave it off, I think. The Diaz corner are trying to pull him out. It is over. And Antonio Margarito has pulled off a wonderful win. Tears for Diaz's wife. Tears of anguish. Sadness for him. A nice man and a good fighter. Beaten here. But Antonio Margarito, who was getting outboxed through most of the early rounds, has come back in storming fashion, and he may be a new welterweight star in the firmament. He's a free-swinging, long-armed, rangy puncher. I said something would have to give. In the end, it was Diaz.
And it was that left uppercut. He'd been threatening with that. He'd been throwing some good ones in the 2 previous rounds. And it was 2 really good left uppercuts.
Well, they were absolutely shuddering blows, weren't they?
Well, he wasn't going to be stopped now. He got his man hurt, got to pile the pressure on. The towel comes in from Diaz's corner. They're waving it off.
10th round, all over. Antonio Margarito, the new WBO welterweight champion of the world.